All right, so we have one last component or one last piece to remember about processing and handling information, trying to remember it. When we talk about memory itself, we've already talked about different strategies of remembering. And these strategies, which we mentioned, were chunking. Try to get ahead of me. Chunking, and then what? The next one is hierarchies. And another one is mnemonics. For example, and this will come up in your midterm. I'll just give you a heads up about that. Is a mnemonic. You create the first letters of something, otherwise known as an acronym or an acrostic, and you remember that letter, that name, like Roy G. Biv, and that's a mnemonic. And you remember more information just by remembering things that are easily chunked together. Okay. Now, the other component piece to understand about memory is that we can process things in a very shallow sort of way or a deep sort of way. And usually this has everything to do with the amount of effort placed into remembering it and working on the information. And so, like the diagram makes clear down here, is that the most shallow, for example, would be structural characteristics. For example, was the word in capitals? So it really is quite structural. There's no deeper understanding of it. You move on to a little bit deeper or shallower. The most shallow to shallower is just the sound of it, and the sound goes beyond structural, but it still is not processing the information very much. And then finally we get to deep processing, and a great way, and I'll just give you a suggestion if I haven't already in class, is deep processing is testing and retesting oneself would be a good example of deep processing. Using someone as a study buddy. In other words, together they quiz you over things. Another one is flashcards. Flashcards are great devices for deeper processing because you have to come up with the information yourself, not just recognize whether it's the information that you're looking for. So deep processing encodes, and this is the key in terms of understanding it, encodes information semantically. In other words, according to its meaning. If you can make a connection to yourself, if you can make a connection built on other things that are relevant and important to you, the likelihood of you remembering it is that much greater. I can tell you from years and years ago, multiple decades ago, of being a psych student just as you are, learning the basics of psychology, and there are things that I still remember from my class, and one of them is chunking, that I continue to use over and over again because I used it so often and repeated it. When I was finishing my doctorate, I actually used all of these devices when I was studying for what we called our prelims, preliminary exams. Well, essentially, we were being we were tested over 4 years of graduate study. Well, you had to have some strategy to do that, and these memory strategies are key in terms of understanding, and variety is everything. Not using just one just one to get the information into your head. One time I might use a hierarchy, another time I might use a mnemonic, another time I might chunk things together. And this variety is part of deep processing that assures you of getting the information deeper and deeper into your head, and therefore memory to be able to pull out at a later point in time.